They thought she was just another recruit with something to prove, until she stepped forward, adjusted her collar, and dropped 6 trained Marines before anyone could even breathe. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The morning sun beat down on the training field at Quantico, painting every metal pole and bootlace in shades of gold and grit. The air smelled of sweat, iron, and ego. It was the last day of hand-to-hand combat drills, and the platoon was restless. At the center stood Cadet Rachel Vance, small-framed, calm-eyed, her dark hair tied back in a knot that hadn't come loose once in 8 weeks. Around her, the other cadets whispered and smirked. "She's half our size," one muttered. "Bet she won't last 10 seconds. Even the instructor, Gunnery Sergeant Hale, gave her a sideways look. The kind of look that said, "Prove me wrong." When Hale barked, "Pair up," 6 Marines, all bulk and bravado, stepped forward. They were grinning like wolves circling a lone lamb. Rachel didn't flinch. The first one lunged. A blur of motion followed. Her shoulder turned, her arm locked his momentum, and he hit the ground with a crack that made the others pause. "Lucky move," someone called out. The second Marine charged. She sidestepped, spun, and the man's feet left the earth before landing in the dirt beside his friend. By the time the third Marine reached for her, the laughter was gone. The field had gone still, save for the wind carrying dust and disbelief. Rachel's eyes were steady, not angry, not proud, just focused. She had been here before, in another place, another life. What no one knew was that 2 years earlier, she'd served overseas, not as a soldier, but as a combat medic attached to a special forces unit. When an ambush had taken her entire team, she'd survived by fighting her way out with nothing but instinct and training she was never supposed to use. She wasn't here to impress anyone. She was here to start over. Hale crossed his arms, his voice low. "Finish it, cadet." The next 3 Marines hesitated, but the order was given. Rachel exhaled once, then moved. A single fluid motion. One Marine swung. She ducked and used his momentum to flip him clean over. Another tried to grab her from behind, only to find himself locked in a chokehold he couldn't break. The last man rushed in, desperate to save face, and she dropped to one knee, swept his legs, and pinned him before his back met the ground. 6 Marines, 1 move each. Less than 20 seconds. Silence. Even the wind seemed to stop. The cadets who'd mocked her earlier now stood still, faces pale, jaws tight. Hale's expression changed. The kind of shift that happens when a man realizes he's underestimated someone extraordinary. He walked over slowly, boots thudding against the dirt. "Where did you learn that, cadet?" Rachel looked him in the eye. "Sir, I learned it where mistakes cost lives." For a long moment, Hale said nothing. Then quietly, "Dismissed, Marine." That word, Marine, carried weight. It wasn't given lightly. As she stepped off the field, the same cadets who had laughed at her moved aside, clearing her path. One of them, the loudest of the group, nodded with quiet respect. That evening, in the mess hall she sat alone. But this time, it wasn't isolation. It was reverence. People didn't whisper anymore. They watched her with a different kind of curiosity, one built not on mockery, but on awe. And as the night fell over the base, Gunnery Sergeant Hale stood by the window, murmuring to himself, "Some warriors wear silence like armor. You never see them coming, until they remind the world what strength really looks like. Because respect isn't demanded, it's earned, one unshakable moment at a time. And sometimes, the quietest person in the room holds the loudest kind of power." If you felt something in this story, leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories of courage, redemption, and quiet strength.